All right, I'll call this meeting of the International Falls Economic Development Authority meeting to order at 17:21, and would start out by asking if there's any audience members that would like to come forward to speak to us. Not, we'll move to the consent agenda. The board action is the EDA meeting minutes of April 17, 2017. A pleasure with the minutes.
I'll move on the minutes.
Second it.
Motion and a second to approve the minutes. Any questions, concerns, or discussion? Not, call for the question.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
I vote yes. Move to the financial reports. April 30th, 2017 report.
It's me. I recommend as treasurer that you approve it. I make a motion. Thank you.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion on the financials? Call for the question.
Aye.
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 I vote yes. Motion carries. Any other business?
Yes, Mr. President.
Right.
I'm going to request my mileage allowance. I'm going to be making a trip on Wednesday to Silver Bay to meet with I'm not an investor, but to meet with investors on the aquaponic farm. And I want to open this up again and investigate and et cetera. So I'm asking permission.
What time is that meeting?
It hasn't been set firmly. I think it's going to be late morning. I think he said something like 11:30. Want to come?
I would be interested in it, but if they haven't set a time yet and it's 2 days before the meeting.
Well, it'll be late morning, early afternoon. I have to contact him about the time. It was indefinite on Saturday. Today is Monday. So I'm sure by tomorrow I'll know the exact time.
So I understand that to be a motion?
Yeah, motion
to pay mileage to Silver Bay for counselors that might want to attend the meeting with aquaponics?
Yep.
Okay, is there a second to that?
I'll second.
Okay. Any discussion?
Chairman, and who would the meeting be with again, Councillor or Commissioner?
It would be with Bruce Carmen of Mariner Farms and investors.
Any more discussion?
What is the purpose of the meeting?
Okay. I've had some phone conversations over the last several months, and plan is to include International Falls, but they're looking at Thunder Bay, and I want to go down and visit with them and get a feel for, where we stand and what may come of this. I'm trying to get an assessment of where this agreement is going. And, so I think the only way to really assess that is to be present at an investor meeting.
President? Yes. Just an update, too. My understanding is that where that project is that all along International Falls was going to be second behind the development in Silver Bay. And there's been some delays in Silver Bay. So our development agreement is still current and effective, and the way it was written is that the Mariner Farms has 12 months from the time that their wetland application is submitted and approved to start construction on their project. They're not prepared to start construction on the project until they get their Silver Bay plant operating, and I think that's part of the reason for meeting with the investors, is to determine how's the investment in that particular facility going and what's the status of that facility, because we know at least he represented that International Falls would be second in line after that facility is up and operating. And there has been some delays. We anticipated construction before now. So I think it's good that somebody's going to go down and try and get some more information and meet with them face to face, find out the status of that project and how it affects our project here in International Falls.
Thank you.
Has the wetland credits been applied for yet?
No.
No, they haven't even applied, so this could be a 10-year, 20-year project. If they never apply for the wetlands, they always get a hold of the land?
Well, Arrow of the North has been working on a wetland application on their behalf, and it just hasn't been submitted for approval, and I don't know what, I was conversing with both Arrow of the North and Mr. Carmen to see what the status of that was and where they were working, and some work has been done on it, but not all payment has been made on it, and the application hasn't been submitted. And in my supposition is that Mr. Carmen doesn't want it to go forward quite yet because of the delays that they've had with the Silver Bay facility. And again, that's why I think it makes sense for somebody to go down and do some reconnaissance and just find out where things are at with that project and how it impacts the timeline on ours. Because the development agreement would start, and I mean the timeline in the development agreement starts when the wetland application has been approved and submitted and approved. And he has to start construction in 12 months. And if they're delayed there, we get the wetland application due here, and he doesn't have the funds to invest in starting construction, then we either have to renegotiate the terms in the development agreement or he would be in default.
Something?
No, I think it's $173 in mileage, and I think it's a trip that is needed. Meeting with the people with money is always key.
Well, I guess, being that there hasn't been any activity in the Silver Bay area, I've had contact with some folks over there, and there's nothing happening, and they don't know that there will be anything happening. And I believe you've had contact with investors.
I have spoke with one, yes. And they would corroborate that there hasn't been a lot of progress in what they've seen.
I personally think it would probably be a pretty good idea to have a face-to-face with them and just find out,
What's going
where
on?
they're at down there for sure, and hear it from the horse's
I'm
mouth,
hearing
so to
that
speak.
there's a new group of investors and that they are eager to move forward and that we're on their map. And that's what I want to talk to these people about, is where we're sitting. And I know there's been some questions raised that you've alluded to, but nevertheless, I think we have an opportunity, and we put some time and effort into it. It's a minor thing to make the assessment and reconnoiter the ground there and find out. I think we have to go there to really find out what's truly happening.
Bob?
Well, Mr. Chairman, I guess I would just say I would go there with a very questioning attitude, because what I've been
I'm willing to
what I've been advised is that we should be very, very cautious in believing that something will occur here.
Mr. Mayor, I'm quite astute at this kind of thing, and I'm going there with exactly that attitude.
Thank you.
And if I think anybody can ask a lot of questions, it would be you. I feel very confident that you would do a very good job for us.
Thank you. I would love to have a partner, because two minds are better than one. You don't think of everything, right?
All right, we have a motion and a second to cover mileage for Counselor to attend investor meeting in Silver Bay on the aquaponics. Any further discussion? Question?
Aye.
Aye.
I vote yes. Motion carries. Any other business come before us? Not, we'll adjourn at 17:31.